What's going on, all you Patrick Swayze enthusiasts out there? We're back with a good one tonight. We're reviewing the Amazon Prime streaming movie, the one Doug Liman directed and had protested it not making it to the theaters. But anyways, it streamed exclusively on Amazon Prime. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal taking over the role of Dalton, and you have the acting debut, acting, I guess you can call it acting here. He's basically playing himself. Conor McGregor as Knox in Roadhouse.
It's a lot to get me angry, but when I am, I just can't let go. People seem a little aggressive around here.
That's right. We were talking about the brand new Roadhouse, a movie we've been looking forward to. We're big fans of the Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott one from the 80s. Always had fun with that one, just the ridiculousness of it. The, funny fight scenes with people flying through fake plastic windows and just bar fights galore, beer bottles being thrown all around, just the rowdiest bar you can think of. That one, I think, supposed to take place in Missouri. Well, we're in the Florida Keys now for this one, and Jake Gyllenhaal's Elwood Dalton, a former UFC fighter who's apparently fell on some hard times, answering an ad basically with, this Florida Keys bar needing a bouncer. He hops on the bus and he heads down to the Florida Keys, and he's going to take over this roadhouse on the water that's known to have a bunch of ne'er-do-wells always coming in and causing trouble. And he's going to clean up the place the one way he knows how. And that's not with violence. He always prefers peace. But if you poke the bear long enough, you're going to see a different side of Dalton, aren't you?
That's right. He's going to get angry. He's going to turn into a grizzly bear and snap out and beat the shit out of you. And it's much like the original. Of course, I like the original a lot more. Patrick Swayze. Dalton, he had a PhD in philosophy, but turned bouncer and taking down bad guys and teaching the other fellow bouncers in the original to be nice until you don't have to be nice. And they didn't really dive into that in the new film. But of course, Jake Gyllenhaal has fun with this film and this role. You could tell he's having a good time, not taking it too seriously, and just fighting. And he got fucking jacked for this movie. It looked like a straight up real UFC fighter, but him making it his way down to the Keys. He talked to the bar owner of the Roadhouse and got a job there, and walks in, and of course sees like at first it seems okay, and then eventually shady people start showing up, and you're like, okay, I'm right here to do a job, and sets up the supporting cast of the film.
Oh yeah, and it wouldn't be the Roadhouse without your big bad villain from this. And we remember from the original Brad Wesley, Ben Gazzara's character, the shady businessman who will stop at nothing to cause trouble and to ruin the Roadhouse. And, Dalton's main focus on that film, the rich guy. And then here we have another rich guy, this time a much younger version of that. Brant, played by Billy Magnuson's character, a rich douchebag who berates his, personal, barber on the yacht when he's getting shaved on a yacht when they're going through waves. And each time they hit a wave, the razor nicks him a little. So he basically starts yelling and putting down his personal barber, just this over the top, completely unlikable, unscrupulous businessman who I guess wants to build property where the Roadhouse is. I guess that's the whole point here. It doesn't. Yeah, he's a developer. So it's kind of a throwaway plot here. There's not much going on as far as the story. It's kind of recycled. It's mainly about, Jake Gyllenhaal playing this likable guy. He's really likable until he is forced into a corner. And, we were mentioning Brant. Eventually, Brant sends a bunch of henchmen and Dalton easily disposes of them. So Brant has to resort to hiring this, basically ex-fighter himself, maybe. Obviously, he has skills there, but it's Conor McGregor as Knox. And we first see him climbing out of a hotel window, somebody's apartment or hotel room. The husband came home, he was banging the old lady, and we see the back of Conor McGregor. We see his ass for about the first 3 minutes of the film, and that's how we're introduced to the character. But Conor here was obviously juiced to the gills, taking steroids for this role. He's about 40 pounds heavier than he usually is, chewing up scenery, playing a heightened version of himself, basically, who comes into the Roadhouse, one day and he's breaking pool cues and he's challenging everybody to fight, and that's the first time that Jake and Conor meet, and that sets up the big showdown in the film, basically.
Conor McGregor was just a cartoon character, not a real person,
Yeah.
but probably my favorite part of the movie when he shows up,
Yeah.
the wholly ridiculous introduction to him. It was so funny, but yeah, he's just ridiculous. He plays himself throughout the movie, just like the shitty one-liners and his thick Irish accent, and intimidating. He can take down anybody because he's a big gorilla. He's like massive in the movies until the big showdown. It was really fun. But yeah, one thing I did like about this movie, especially the fight scenes, I like the camera work. They like moved it with the fight scenes, like you're seeing getting punched and all that, and they go back to the other fighter. I thought that was really quick and fast, and it felt like you're actually in like a bar fight. So that was a redeeming quality about it.
Yeah, there's some really cool camera work. I agree there. Doug Lyman, credit to that. Interesting fight scenes here. It really feels brutal. Really feels like they watched a lot of actual UFC to see real techniques and chokes and throws, and not only just punching. Whereas we remember the '80s version of Roadhouse. People doing like spinning kicks. Ridiculous. The time it took for the guy to spin around, somebody could have moved out of the way. Whereas here, it's coming at you so fast and feels really real. And with Conor McGregor there, obviously having experience, especially the scenes where he's like basically right in your face and his fists are flying right at the camera. It's some pretty cool, sequences there. So the film looks great, with the neon signs there. The Florida Keys work for that, whereas I preferred the Double Deuce from the original film. But it wasn't totally bad or anything here. Just preferred the original a little bit more. They take a lot of cues from the original. It has the band behind the fence. They have some bands come in there and sing, so they definitely pay homage to the original here. But it's a fun movie to stream. I'm not dying to see it again. Once was enough for me. It was fun. Would it have worked in the theaters like Doug Lyman wanted? I don't know. I think it's doing a hell of a good job on Prime, so it probably worked out in the end. And with the way things end up with the character of Dalton, it leaves it open for a future sequel to this. Who knows what could happen? Maybe they could go to a different roadhouse. Maybe try to even pay more homage to the original. But yeah, it was pretty cool how they made him an ex-UFC fighter. They actually filmed it at one of the events, so it feels really realistic. His weigh-ins and his actual fight in the ring and everything made for some cool sequences here. Conor McGregor was over the top, but that was his job in this film. I thought he did a good job. It's a heightened version of Conor, and Jake Gyllenhaal was a likable guy until he pushed his buttons. And we had some characters on the side that had some funny moments. Arturo Castro, basically he was a bad guy that eventually turned good because he just kept being in the same place as Dalton and seeing Dalton whoop everybody's ass. And at one time having to kill a guy, he always had something funny to say. So it was enjoyable, just not like a home run or anything, or not like an improvement over the original, we'll say.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable one watch movie. A movie you probably won't revisit unless you really loved it. And hey, good for you, but not for me. I love the original a lot more. I didn't really like the Keys setting, the Florida setting. I knew there's gonna be like a gator or croc that shows up, of course. But I don't know. It kind of took me out of the movie. I don't know why I didn't like that kind of setting for the movie. I like the Missouri setting in the original a lot better. But Gyllenhaal did the best he could. He got in really great shape. It's cool seeing him as a UFC fighter. Had some really great fight scenes, and you could tell he was having fun with this. Conor being my favorite. I thought he was a really great villain. Really great ending and fight scene. Camera work was really well done. So that being said, I'm going to give Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, playing on Prime Video. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Conor fucking McGregor hair pieces.
I too am going to give a Roadhouse starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 Wade Garrett hair pieces.
I want to hear from all you wild and rowdy people out there. What did you like about the new Roadhouse? What didn't you like about it? Do you like the original better? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to punch subscribe. Also, check out these wild UFC impersonators on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and reviews.
You said wild and rowdy. Did you mean Wild and Rowdy Harrington, the original film's director?
Yes, that's what I meant by that.
Hey, be nice. So thank you guys for watching our review of the all new reimagining of Roadhouse. And until the next Cinephellas movie review, I'm Uncle Henry Dalton.
And I'm Uncle Logan Gyllenhaal signing out until the next movie review.
Cheers.